Hello and welcome to Focus here on France 24, when we take a closer look at some of the stories behind this week's news. Now, it was a case that caused shockwaves across India and indeed the world. The brutal and fatal gang rape of a 23-year-old student on a bus in New Delhi. Ever since that attack last December, many Indians have been demanding better protection for women and a reduction in the rate of sexually violent crimes. But how to go about it? Well, in one city, which is normally known as one of India's most liberal, the police came up with an uncharacteristically draconian solution that left many women seething. They fined any young couple found outside after dark to the tune of €18. Our correspondents Mandakini Gallo and Constantin Simon have been finding out more.
Marine Drive, a promenade along the sea, is one of the rare spots in Mumbai where young couples can grab a few moments of privacy. But not for much longer. On January 14th, the Mumbai police issued an order that targets any young couples found in isolated spots after dark.
It was like 1,200 rupees were fined from the couple. So is it that we have to pay for our protection now? We are getting beaten up from both the sides. It's even the people who are doing wrong things, from their end also we have a setback. Even from the people who are supposed to protect us, they are also harassing us.
The Mumbai police claims its actions are aimed at keeping young couples safe and out of the reach of criminals.
I think if they want to increase security, they should, tighten the security measures and not ask people where to go and when to go and with whom to go, right? It's not that you are committing a crime if you're going out with a guy, right?
But in a country where public displays of affection have always been frowned upon, the police has its share of supporters like this prominent politician.
Can you introduce us to your daughters?
Yeah, my daughter, this is Shahwar.
Hi.
For him, the police's action is not just justified, but it needs to go further.
In order to curb crimes against women, we have to take some measures, like girls should not go out, and they should always cover their faces. Unmarried couples who have sex, even if it's their choice, should be sentenced to death. This is my demand.
Legal experts in Mumbai have said that this order is in violation of the Indian Constitution. Following massive public criticism, the Mumbai police was forced to officially withdraw this draconian measure. But when he thinks the camera is switched off, a senior official of the Mumbai police reveals that officers have their instructions to continue targeting young couples.
Sound is off, no?
Switch off the sound. Yeah, this is off.
We hum karte. Yes, if we got some, seen some minor, looking to the eyes, if we feel she is a minor, we'll definitely call parents. Definitely, already instructions, discipline them. But nowadays it is crossing the limit. और उसको लिमिट में लाने के लिए अगर हम कोशिश करते हैं तो फिर चिल्लम चिल्ली शुरू हो जाता है.
This order is yet another reflection of the widening gap between India's traditionally conservative values and the modern aspirations of its youth. Aditi Mittal, a feminist actress from Mumbai, is one of the many who refuse to abide by this moral policing.
It's not justified at all because, I mean, at the end of the day, the country belongs as much to the future as it does to the past. And I think with this incident, it has triggered an awakening of sorts in the youth because these are our issues.
So far, nearly 100 couples have been booked and fined by the Mumbai police under this order.
Well, for more now on that story, I'm joined by our correspondent in New Delhi, Mandakini Gallo, who made that report for us. Mandakini, thank you for joining us. First of all, then, did this measure in Mumbai do any good? Did crime rates decrease? Did young people actually stay inside?
No, not at all. You see, Mumbai enjoys a reputation as one of the most liberal cities in India. And as such, there are young people out on the streets at all time in the night. And there was a general feeling within the citizens that such a conservative order cannot and should not be accepted. Now, we saw a lot of young people on the streets despite the order. And there was a lot of opposition from the citizens of Mumbai. One human rights lawyer even went so far as to compare the Mumbai police with the Taliban for having issued such an order. As to whether it led to any reduction in the crime, that would be almost impossible to say because the order was revoked in 10 days.
OK. And the fine clearly isn't allowed constitutionally. That's been decided. So why would the Mumbai police issue such an order in the first place?
Frankly, if any of the couples who were charged under this order were to go to court to challenge it, it's unclear what that would result in because according to the Mumbai Police Act, the police are entitled to take relevant action if they find somebody behaving indecently in public. Now, here's the problem. The law does not define what accounts as indecent, and that's left up to the police officers to interpret. So we've had cases of couples being fined because they were holding hands, or kissing because some overzealous police officers defined that as indecent. So the law itself is really vague on this issue, and that is what perhaps emboldened the Mumbai police to take such a measure.
Now, there was, of course, a wave of protests across India following that attack in New Delhi in December. Was this the kind of measure, then, that people were calling for when they said they wanted women to be made safer in India?
No, on the contrary, the Delhi protesters had two simple demands: to increase security on the streets for women and harsher punishment for the criminals. Now, the Mumbai police, in all its wisdom, decided that it would be better to keep the potential victims off the streets, and that would perhaps lead to a reduction in crimes. Now, for about a week there, they thought this order is very valid and would work more than increasing security on streets.
Now, as you mentioned in your report, all of this speaks of a wider issue in India, which is the conflict between its conservative values and its more modern, more westernised young people. So are more headline measures like this being called for nationally as well?
Yes, in fact, orders like this are not uncommon in India. We've had, particularly after the incident in New Delhi, we've had community councils calling for bans on everything from mobile phones for young women to jeans and skirts, because they believe that leads to rape. But the community councils, we must understand, do not have any legal power vested in them, while they are influential. Now, what was different about this order was that it was the Mumbai police using the existing law to curb its own citizens.
And let's just return then to that case in New Delhi itself. The men accused of that crime are currently on trial. But what's the latest on their potential fate? And will it become a test case perhaps for the future in India?
Right. It was just on Saturday that the charges were formally read out to the 5 accused. They were charged with kidnapping, rape, murder, amongst other charges. And the trial is set to begin on a day-to-day hearing from tomorrow. The 6th accused in this case, who is a minor, is likely to get away with a much lighter sentencing. It is hoped that this case will lead to a sort of harsher punishment for sex crimes in the future.
OK, Mandakini Gallo in New Delhi, thank you very much indeed for joining us for this edition of Focus, that report there from Mumbai. Well, that is all for this edition of Focus. Do tune in for more at the same time tomorrow, and do stay with us here on France 24. More news coming up very shortly.